everybody, welcome to this introduction to 3D modeling. Let's get started.
Hi everybody, welcome to this introduction to 3D modeling and maybe later even a little bit of animation. What we're going to do to start is learn how to use some of the cool features and the basic features of a magical program called Blender. Blender is free. You can find it at blender.org. Let's just go back to the home page. This is the home page, blender.org. And if you go into download and see if you can figure out what system you're using, are you using Windows or Mac or Linux, etc., and just download the installer and install Blender on your device. It is free. Okay. Now, we're going to be making a spoon. This is not my idea. This idea is from Ian Scott 888 on YouTube. And the reason why I'm remaking this video is because we're going to be using, possibly, a different version of Blender than Ian used. So I'm going to be using Blender 2.9. And it looks a little bit different from the Blender that Ian Scott used, so that's why I'm making this video. Okay, so let's get started. When you open Blender, you will see an object. It is a cube. If you go into Edit mode, let's just have a look at the features of this 3D object. It has a face here and another face here. This is a face. Here's another one. This is a face. So 3D objects have faces. They also have edges. Can you see this edge here? Here's another edge, 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 just like a line, but they're known as edges in Blender. And at the corner of a face, you can see these dots. These are vertices. Here is one vertex, and here are many vertices. Okay, so we're going to be using that vocabulary a lot in this tutorial, so get used to that vocabulary. A face, an edge, and a vertex. Okay. Now, with my mouse, when I click the wheel, I can orbit around the object that I'm designing. See if you can do that. Also, if I press Shift on my keyboard and then click the wheel and move the mouse, I can pan around the scene that I'm designing. So that's quite a useful feature. If I scroll on the wheel, I can zoom in and zoom out. Okay, another quick feature is in the View menu. If you go to View Viewpoint, you can look at your object from different perspectives. Top view, bottom view, front view, back view, etc. So these are very useful, and you might want to get used to the shortcuts. Okay, so this is on your numpad, on your keyboard, 7 is the shortcut for top view. I use that a lot. And 1 is the shortcut for front view. Those are the two views that I spend a lot of time working with. So let's just try that. I'm just going to click 7 on my numpad, and this is top view. All right, let's get started. We're going to start out in orthographic view. So if yours says perspective, go into view and just change it to orthographic. The keypad shortcut is 5, okay, on your number pad. Okay, so make sure you're in orthographic view. I'm going to be in top view. I'm going to press A on my keyboard. A allows me to quickly select and deselect an object. Okay, so if you press A, select, and if you press A again, in fact, it doesn't always work with one press. I have to press it a few times. I can deselect. So select your object. Just going to go back to 7 on the number pad to go into top view. I've selected the object. I'm now going to press delete. Ooh, vertices, edges, and faces, those three words again. So we're just going to delete, let's just go to vertices. It's going to delete everything, so that's fine. The cube is gone. The idea still exists in our library of objects. I'm just going to rename this now to be spoon. So this is going to be where my spoon object is stored in the project. Now what I want to do is find a starting point, press Control on my keyboard, and start to right click the mouse. Right clicking, guys. So Control, right click, 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 and let's see if we can create the outline of a spoon. Now it's not going to be very accurate. Please don't worry too much about that. Let's just see if we can get the basic idea. And we'll look at some tools that we can use to redesign things. So I'm kind of back to the beginning. Okay, it's not the best outline, I know that, don't panic. I'm just going to press A on the keyboard, and then A again to deselect. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in with my wheel, Shift, wheel, to pan, just going to come down here. Do you see we've got a vertex here and a vertex here that we need to join to make that final edge. Two vertexes, we can make an edge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press B on the keyboard, B for box, and I'm going to see if I can select those two vertexes. Yes, I got them. They're both selected. I'm now going to right-click and see if I can connect to them. Let's try to make a new edge. New edge. Yes, brilliant, we got it. We got a new edge. A on the keyboard. Let's just deselect everything again. Zoom out. Pan. Brilliant. Now, some of these vertexes are not in the best position, so I'm just going to use that box trick again. B on the keyboard, B. Box select. Now, G on the keyboard. G means grab. I'm going to grab that, G, and then move the mouse. And you can move a vertex. Select everything, A, deselect. B to box, G to grab, and just move the mouse. A, B to box, G to grab, and then move. A, B to box, G to grab, A. And just see if you can tidy up your design a little bit. I'm going to box all of these. G to grab. Just going to move them up a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to continue that today because that's not the point of this tutorial, but hopefully you now know how to select everything, deselect everything, box, and grab to move. Okay, so those are some useful shortcuts in Blender. Now then, what we have here is a 2D object. What we're going to try to do is select everything. Do you remember how to do that? E to extrude, and then look what happens. Extrude means we can create a 3D object, okay, from 2D to 3D. This is known as extruding, so it's E on the keyboard. Now I'm not very happy with that. I'm going to Control Z to undo. Let's do that again. I only want to extrude on the Z axis. Do you see there? Up is the Z axis. So this time I'm going to press E and Z. Now I'm restricted to the Z-axis only. I can only go on the Z-axis. That's very useful. Now, do you notice that, let's go to top view again, 7 on my number pad. My object doesn't have any faces on the top or the bottom. It's empty. So that's kind of a problem because I can't really design the spoon without those faces. Many faces together is called a mesh. We need to design a mesh for this object. So what I'm going to do is go back to top view. Let's just have a look and see what's going on. Control Z. Okay, good. Top view. I need to create a mesh. How can I do that? I've selected everything. You can see the orange outline. Let's go to mesh. No, let's go to add. No, let's go to edge. Let's go to face. Face. Fill. Let's fill this 2D object. This is back to 2D. We're 2D now. Let's fill that with a face. Yes, we have a mesh. Do you see that mesh? Now, it's not very pretty, and we'll look at how to clean that up in the next video. But here we have a mesh. Now then, let's go back to, let's see if we can see what's going on here. E on the keyboard, extrude. On the Z axis, click Z, and then let's extrude. Ooh, on the Z axis, let's go back to Z. That's it. I'm pressing the wheel. I shouldn't be pressing the wheel. I should be pressing the left mouse key. Now let's go into object mode. Object mode. We have a solid object with a mesh that kind of looks like a spoon. That's the end of this tutorial. See if you can get this far, and in the next video we'll look at some more tips and tricks to make an even better spoon.